Okay, so let's talk about Davis Mills for a second. So the Houston Texans obviously decided that they were going to draft Davis Mills in the third round, and the logic behind getting a quarterback there, I think, makes sense. Obviously, Deshaun Watson has had, sexual assault and rape allegations, so going out and getting a quarterback because you don't know what's going to happen there, there's logic there, and I understand why you might take a third round pick and spend it on a quarterback. The kind of question I think a lot of people say is you're really deprived of talent. You don't have much talent whatsoever. Why spend your highest draft pick you had in that round on a quarterback who's probably not going to be great? And some people feel as though Davis Mills could potentially be, maybe a sleeper. Maybe he's someone who could be a third round guy that comes up and is actually able to play pretty well. I am not one of those people. I'm just not. I think there's a lot of issues in his game. The first and foremost, and really the biggest issue I have with his game is just his accuracy. He is just horrifically inaccurate. You watch the tape, you just see plenty of missed throws, and that's a real issue. And let's just jump into the film study. So, like on this play, for example, it's going to be a rollout to the left side of the screen. You see the receiver or tight end who's going to get off blocking, run out, and that's the guy who Mills is going to throw to. That's just how this is going to work. And right when this play starts, so you see Mills does roll out. He is running, admittedly, he has to throw off balance. So that is a bit of a difficult thing there. So, off platform, but at the same time, I do like to see how well can a quarterback throw off platform, because in the NFL, you have to do that a lot more often than you have to do in college, at least in most situations. But you see him throwing off platform, and this is a pretty open player right here. This is the throw that you honestly probably should make. But instead, Mills' throw is just not even close. So, that's not great. And I know that's one example, but trust me, there's plenty of those types of examples. Like, watch, this one's another one where it's going to be, again, you see there's a one-on-one matchup, sort of a deeper route. That's how this is going to work. There's going to be a little move at the line, but anyways, watch what happens. So as you see, this receiver does make this move, but Mills is going to completely overthrow it. And you might say, oh, well, he got the timing off. But the reality is he should have been able to read that play and realize exactly where his receiver was going. And he should have been able to read that play and make the correct throw. So he either missed his spot or it was his own read that was wrong. But either way, that's an issue. Now, there's a saying in football that says you can't teach accuracy. You can teach arm strength, you can teach how big a quarterback is, but you can't teach accuracy. That's something that gets said a lot. There's not really a ton of evidence to support it, though. Like, there absolutely are players that you can look at and say, like, that guy got more accurate. Josh Allen is a classic example. So I don't know if I really would say that you can't teach accuracy, but it's worth mentioning he has real consistency issues with his accuracy, and that's something that I would be concerned about. And I actually think his throwing motion is pretty good. So I'm not, and in some ways that almost might be a negative, just because with some guys, like say an Ian Book, for example, a lot of his accuracy issues are due to his horrendous footwork. So maybe you hope like, oh, well, if you can fix his footwork, maybe he'll be a lot more accurate. Although I think I might like Davis Mills more than Book. I'm just saying, like, you can make that argument at least. For Mills, I'm just not sure how high his ceiling is because of that. Because even when he is throwing in a good spot, he'll still miss throws, and that's less than ideal. Okay, how about some positives now? We'll start off with this one. This one's going to be a huge positive. You're wondering, Jackson, why have you just circled a defensive tackle? What are you trying to show on this type of play? Well, there's going to be some pressure. That guy's going to get through pretty much untouched, and just watch him. Watch him get through the offensive line. He's going to get over to Mills, and he has a sack. Oh, wait, no, he doesn't. Mills gets out of it and somehow runs and picks up a ton of yards. You're thinking, okay, that was pretty impressive. That honestly is maybe my favorite thing about Mills is the guy's just a tough kid. I mean, he's just someone who he's hard to bring down, and he is kind of a little physical, which is nice to see. You like that in a quarterback. He's someone who I feel like if he's trying to get a touchdown and he has to run over a defensive back to do it, he might be able to be that guy. So there is some legitimate value in that. And also, again, if you're getting sacked, it's nice to have a guy who's a little bit stronger, a little bit tougher, isn't going to get hurt as much. But at the same time, I do feel like that stuff is a bit overblown. It's football. Everyone gets hurt pretty much. So Maybe it helps you a little bit, but I don't know how much it helps you. But the toughness factor is, I think, a real thing when it comes to the quarterback position, and it probably is the best thing about Mills. Like a play like this is another good example, and this to me, this is something that I do look for in a quarterback is when you're under pressure, how do you handle it? And Mills handles it very well. Again, like I said, he has a pretty good throwing motion, and sometimes with these guys with longer throwing motions, the issue that I mainly have with it is since you have a longer throwing motion, when pressure comes, you have to shorten your motion, which leads to inconsistencies. But since he has a quicker motion, when he has to shorten it, he doesn't have to shorten it that much because he already throws it so quickly and things can still work out. So on this play, it's going to be a blitz. It's man coverage. You see the receiver he wants to throw to. That's the situation. And watch how, since this was a cover zero, there's going to be pressure, and Mills does throw it before he gets hit. So that's a key factor. So he got rid of the ball before he got hit, but it was just before he got hit. He took the hit, and he had the quick enough throwing motion that he could still get it off. So to me, that matters because that does translate to the NFL. You now see, so he gets to throw off. But the second part is you have to make the throw accurately, right? It's one thing to, get it off, but you have to be able to get it accurate with some consistency. But as you see, it is a perfectly accurately thrown football. So he did a lot very well on that play, I think. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Davis Mills as a whole. There are some traits that I like about him. I do like how he is tough. I do like how he will stand in the pocket, and I like his throwing motion. He has pretty good pocket presence. He has, I would say, above average pocket presence. And, those are some of the key things I look for, as those tend to be really underrated traits when it comes to evaluating quarterbacks. Those are the traits people don't pay enough attention to, and they do translate to the NFL well. So he has some solid traits. The accuracy thing, though, is just a real concern for me. And maybe there is some sort of mechanical issue that I just can't spot that is a real issue. That's possible because, again, I'm not a guru with this stuff, although I do have a pretty good understanding of it, I would say. But it is possible that there's something I'm missing. However, I think the reality is he's just not that accurate, and that's the concern. And I think for Houston, you maybe are a little bit worried about you spent this third-round pick on a guy who might not actually get you any closer to, finishing this rebuild, which is probably a fair concern. But I guess the question is just how well would that third-round pick have turned out? Maybe it wouldn't have been that big anyways. Most third-round picks, you feel good about them if they're like a 5-year starter, let alone you usually don't get a Pro Bowler with that pick. Sometimes you do, but usually not. So it's a gamble, but hey, if you like him and think there's a 3% chance he ends up being a franchise quarterback, it might be worth the risk just because, a franchise quarterback is so valuable. So that's what they're doing. And again, my guy at that point, Kellen Mond, he was already off the board. So Davis Mills here, you have Kyle Trask, who I know some people like, he was also off the board. If they wanted to go quarterback, maybe there's a guy or two I would have had instead, but he's right up there. He's in that group. So I don't hate it. That's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.